Huge criminal enterprise stretching from Atlanta to Detroit and several other states. The story of Big Meech, who headed up the Black Mafia family, is also the source of a popular TV show that has been filmed right here in Atlanta. And this week, after serving nearly 20 years in prison for racketeering, drug dealing, and running a criminal enterprise, he is out of prison. 11 Alive's Erica Murphy has more on his release and his sordid past.
Demetrius Flannery and his brother, Terry, ran one of the country's largest drug operations during the late 80s. Hundreds of employees, generated hundreds of millions of dollars, and even had a successful record label and magazine. But in 2006, the brothers were indicted in a federal RICO case originating out of Georgia.
BMF was the first group that was accused of being both a criminal organization and a record label.
Attorney Josh Schiffers says Demetrius, also known as Big Meech, is highly regarded because he never took a deal or snitched on his co-conspirators.
And he went down. And when he went down, he and his brother were sentenced to 30 years in prison.
In 2020, Terry Flannery was released, and just this week, Big Meech was released from prison. He will serve the remainder of his sentence at a halfway house in Miami. Reporting from Atlanta, Erica Murphy, 11 Alive News.
This video is dedicated to all my street guys. I want y'all to really pay attention to this video, man. And I hope it kind of, open your eyes on a lot of levels. If they're not already open, you know what I'm saying? This one right here, this one kind of like touch home for me, cause it's like I watched this man. I watched him, from the time he hit the mainstream with it. I watched him, and I just, I wouldn't have never thought I would have heard this. I just, I never thought I'd be reporting this. Yes, you back on the 808 Lounge with your boy Clint Josie. How y'all doing, man? How y'all doing? But yes, we are reporting on Demetrius Edward Flannery, aka Big Meech, the biggest. Yes, we got Big Meech on the agenda today. Basically, we got the whole BMF on the agenda today, but mostly we're speaking about Big Meech. Damn, man. Where do I start with this one? This one gonna be one, man, because this one get kind of deep. This one may be longer than average. This video may be longer than average, because this is about a man that I kind of grew up looking up to. I'm not gonna lie. Judge me how you want to judge me. I was raised in the streets. I'm an ex-street guy. You know what I'm saying? Emphasis on X. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Ben changed my life. But yes, as a kid, growing up, living that life, I looked up to this guy. I'm talking about like 100%. He was a big deal to me. So now that I'm sitting here living a different life and I'm reporting what I'm about to report, it kind of gives me mixed feelings, but at the same time, I'm really not surprised. And I'm gonna tell you why in a little bit. But for those who don't know who Big Meech is, his real name is Demetrius Edward Flannery. He was raised, I think born and raised most of his life in Southwest Detroit. Him and his brother Terry Lee Flannery, aka Southwest T. We most of us know him as Southwest T. So they came up in southwest side of Detroit. The boys came up hard. Around 1985, around 85, I think to be exact, they started, them boys started hustling. They started doing their thing. So basically, if you do the math, I think Meech is like 56 right now. So if you do the math, them boys was like 14, 15 years old when they jumped off the porch and basically started what ended up being a major drug trafficking enterprise, at the end of the day. But he was always Meech was always a charismatic dude, always very smart, you know what I'm saying? Always very street smart, always very savvy. He wasn't, if you hear people speak of him, they say it was nothing about the dude normal. So, him and his brother, they did their thing, you know what I'm saying? Around about year 2000, I think they went to branching out. I think they were branching out way before then, but the year 2000 is kind of when everybody kind of went to hearing about, BMF and Big Meech and they were behind a couple of rappers. They were behind the come up of Young Jesus. They played a big part in Young Jesus coming up. You know what I'm saying? They basically pushed his, they pushed his whole career at first. He stepped out with them. He had the big dope boy drug dealer persona. He was everything was about drugs. All the songs was about how much dope he sold, and he was with the big dope boys. And one thing about BMF, what made them so powerful and a force to be reckoned with in the culture, is because the way they did things. They were getting real money. Let's not get this fucked up. They was getting real money to the point where they could pull up on the rappers and the stars and outshine them. Basically outshine them. That's how they caught a lot of people attention in the city once they went to spreading, because they left Detroit and they came to Atlanta. Well, Meech came to Atlanta, from what they say. They say a lot of people thought that Southwest T and Big Meech cliques were together. No, when Southwest T and Big Meech kind of like drifted apart, they made their own. They had their own crews. You know what I'm saying? Big Meech had him a crew, based in Atlanta, I think, but it was guys from everywhere. And Southwest T, I think he had him a crew in Detroit. I think they were basically still based in Detroit. He never really left Detroit, I don't think. So, Big Meech's crew out in Atlanta, they were, they got stories about BMF, man. You just got to know the BMF stories. I'm talking about, I've heard about Big Meech, them coming in strip clubs, throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not only that, they would come in a strip club, or they would come in whatever club they're attending that night. They would buy out the bar. The most expensive champagne, the most expensive bottles they would buy them all. They would buy them all. So therefore, after, whenever a star or somebody would come in after them to buy any champagne or any bottles, they were told that BMF, those guys right there, they bought everything. If you want anything, you probably got to get it through them. So think about this. These are regular street guys, and these millionaire rappers are looking like, who the fuck are these? Who are these dudes? I've never heard of these guys. Like, who are these dudes? They got bigger chains. They got on bigger chains than us. It's 30 guys in the crew. Everyone is pulling up in a foreign. It's 30 foreigns lined up outside. Who the fuck are these guys? For real. Like, these are the BMF stories I grew up hearing. I'm talking about making it rain. I'm talking about they're legendary in the strip club. They're legendary in the strip club. I'm talking about they're legendary, man. Got women swimming. Got women swimming in money. What's the duck? They used to swim in the money. Yeah, that's how they say the strip club looked when BMF walked out. That motherfuckers was swimming. Hey, diving in that shit, man. But this is the stuff they did. Chains, way bigger, way more diamonds than the average rapper. These guys had mansions. What Meech said one time? This man said, I don't rent hotels. I don't live in hotels when I go from city to city. That man said, I have a mansion. I have a house in every city. He said, when I go to St. Louis, I'm staying in my house that's in St. Louis. When I go to Florida, Miami, I'm staying in my house that's in Miami. You know what I'm saying? How many dudes, like the rappers wasn't doing that type of shit? You know what I'm saying? So, yes, he hit the, they hit the rap game, they hit the game period by storm. And it's one of the most infamous things they did in Atlanta. And a lot of people say this is what made the FBI really want them so bad. They had a billboard in the middle of Atlanta that said, "The world is ours." It was something like that. "The world is ours." I don't want to misquote it. Something like that. BMF, "The world is ours." So can you see where we're going with this? So anyway, they were doing their thing. They were, they say at one time these guys were moving like 2,500 bricks a week or something like that. Probably a lot more. So the type of numbers they were doing, the type of things they were doing. Unfortunately, in 2005, BMF was indicted. Some dude got popped from the clique and he started snitching and he ended up bringing everybody down and yeah, everybody was just they were took down in 2005 and Big Meech was sentenced. Big Meech and his brother Southwest T, they were both sentenced to 30-year sentences. 30-year sentences. So why I'm here with you today is because Big Meech has been released. Welcome home, Big Meech. Welcome home, Big Meech. Big Meech has been released, but we have a lot of controversy going around his name. Because if you can add 2005 and it's 2024, almost 2025, that's 19 to 20 years. That's not 30 years. So, we have people questioning, why is he home early? And we also have paperwork out stating why he's home early now and stating why he was about to come home like 2016, 2017, but never was released. A lot of people wonder what happened with that. And I'm going to tell you what happened with that. Well, apparently, they're saying, this is allegedly, I haven't seen the paperwork, but the paperwork is out there because Blue Da Vinci, which was a part of the guy that was a part of BMF, he was basically the only person that was on the BMF label. He was a rapper. He was a guy from the West Coast. He's a Crip. He was basically dealing with BMF on a music level at first, and then he eventually got into the drugs and all that with them. But he exposed the paperwork, and the paperwork states basically that Big Meech participated with the DEA through a third party cooperation. Big Meech had a girlfriend or a chick that he was dealing with named Tammy Owens. Tammy Owens was supposed to cooperate with the DEA in order to get Dominique Edwards Flannery, aka Big Meech, a time cut. Now y'all gotta listen to this because it gets tricky. Okay, so Tammy Owens linked up with the special agent named Jack Harvey, which is crazy because Jack Harvey was the guy that was over the investigation on BMF. He's the guy that ended up taking BMF down. Okay, later on, she ends up working with him. He becomes her handler. Now, how that happened, nobody really knows. People think that she went and spoke with with Meech, and Meech sent her to Jack Harvey so they could go set people up and he could get a time cut. That was the play. Okay. So she starts working with Mr. Jack Harvey. You know, I guess they give her phones. She go to contacting different people on these tapped phones, and they're gathering intel, you know, from the tapped phones with the people she's conversating with. So they said that originally she was supposed to be trying to set up this guy named Suarez for Big Meech, you know, for his time cut. But she was also conversating with this dude named Cuffy from St. Louis that Big Meech used to deal with back in the day. You know, he was a very strong guy. He was a very strong guy in the game. So supposedly they swapped the attention off Suarez and put it on Cuffy. He's a St. Louis, you know, he's supposed to be a St. Louis legend or whatever. So she ended up doing business with Cuffy or whatever, and Cuffy ended up getting indicted behind Tammy Cohen's. Okay. It comes out though that let me back up. Tammy Cohen's, remember I told you her handle was Jack Harvey. So something happened with Jack Harvey, and Jack Harvey got took off the case. And she had a new handler became over her name Special Agent Keith Cromer. He was a black guy, I think. So, remember the whole play about her setting up someone to get Demetrius, a.k.a. Big Meech time cut? Okay. She set up Cuffy and a couple other guys. Come to find out, her new handler, Special Agent Cromer, Tammy Cohen's and Special Agent Cromer was having a secret affair. They were having an illicit affair. So shit hits the fan on that about the affair. So right there, that wipes out the play. Boom. No more time cut for Big Meech. Yeah, so that's why he didn't come home. He would have came home in about 2018, 2016, 2017. He would have came home early. He would have been home around that time. You know what I'm saying? Probably a couple years after that. So that's why he ended up doing this whole 20 years. Now they say he was released early still because he was in the feds and they do 85% of their time, right? You're doing 85% of your time in the feds. If he was sentenced to 30 years, 85 would be like 25 and a half, 24 and a half, something like that. Okay. He's already in the halfway house right now. It's not even 20, 25. So that means he did 19, almost 20 years. That's not even all this time. So he still came home early. And people are wondering, like, was that the reason? No, that's not the reason. But he came home early on something else, and they say it's legit. I don't know if it's a law, but they say it's legit. But people are still saying he's not right. They're trying to call him a rat. And I just want to say that I'm not surprised because what big drug dealer or big kingpin that went ahead and laid down and did their time? Besides some of them old school mobsters and you know what I'm saying? It's a couple of them. But most of them, you got to think about it. Rayful Edmonds. You got to think about it. The dude that played American Gangster, the one that said he went in the jungle and got his own shit. Him, he ratted. Anybody you think, you got killers that rat. What's the guy that was the killer from the shooter for John Gotti? I forgot his name, but he ratted and went into witness protection with the feds. And, changed his whole identity and everything, got immunity. He killed like 15, 16 people or some shit. So it's like everybody, most people going to do that. Think about it. And I'm not justifying what he did, But I'm just being realistic. And it's like, that's why certain people get out the game, because it's like you realize that the consequences that you may have to face doing this is not worth it anymore. You know, it's not worth it anymore. And I could never speak from those guys' level, because the level that they were doing shit at, like millions of dollars, they were doing shit at like millions of dollars and billions and making millions and millions of dollars. Like, I don't know how that feels. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that would be addictive. But he did 20 years. So you got to think about it. He's 56. Another 5-year bid would have been, that would have been, you know what I'm saying? That would have been, he'd have been in his 60s. And a lot of people like, damn, he did 20 years, like how he ratted or whatever. I don't know. He 20 years, you after doing 20, you think 5 more just gonna look like it's gonna feel like it was 2 or 3 days? No, that's gonna feel like damn near that's gonna feel like an eternity. You just gonna want to get out, get back to life before you get too old. But it's like, man, it's a different day. It's a new time. Like, people aren't like, stop expecting people to stand on it, bro. They not standing on it. People gonna do a little time, and they gonna try to wiggle out of the situation without you even really. And they gonna try to do, like, I feel like he did a third party situation, so he could probably come home and it wouldn't trace back to him all the way. You know what I'm saying? Because I think on the paperwork, it makes it look like, you know, it was her that did it, but she got on the stand and she had to testify that she became an informant for the DEA to get Demetrius Edward Flannery, a.k.a. Big Meech, a time cut. And she put that on the record. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to call nobody nothing. You know, it is what it is. Just like everybody say, he's going to be accepted. He's still going to be Big Meech when he comes home. It's like nobody cares. Look at Lil Woody. Look at the rest of these guys. Look at Rollo. Nobody cares. There's only a few guys out here, Bootsy. There's only a few renegades, like they say, that still standing in the paint, still caring. But, bro, nobody cares. So, with that being said, all you guys out here doing what you're doing, and you running with these dudes, and y'all doing this together, and y'all doing that, and he calling you twin, and you calling him brother, and this, that, and the other, and y'all doing all this dirt together. Just expect him to tell on you. Just expect him to tell on you, or tell on somebody, or not stand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just expect that shit. Like, that's all I'm telling y'all. That's all I'm telling y'all, man. And it's crazy because the lady Tammy Cohen's, she owns the rights to Big Meech's his life store right now. I heard she owns BMF. So, you know, that's why I said that's kind of deep, really, man. It's really kind of deep. It doesn't make sense to me all the way, but then it kind of does in a way. Yeah, this was I tried to compact basically a lot of information in a little bit of time for y'all. I didn't want to make this too long, but this was a tricky one. This one was a maze, you know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to get it out to y'all, man, get y'all the facts. And you can go look up that. You can go look it up yourself, you know. Demetrius Edward Flannery is his government name. Tammy Owens, you can look up, I think you can look up her paperwork. You can go look it up for yourself if people don't believe, you know. Get in the comments, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Do y'all think, you know, Big Meech did what he had to do? Do y'all feel like he, you know, should have stood there and did the rest of his time? Do y'all feel like he was wrong for doing the third party cooperation? Do y'all feel like he did what the fuck he had to do to come home? You know? Do you feel like the streets are dead? Do you feel like all them little morals people claiming they standing on and principles, do you feel like that's BS? Do you feel like that's out the window? You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know how y'all feel, man. It's Clinton Josie at 808 Lounge, man. Y'all get in the comments. Y'all engage. Go follow me at my TikTok at 808 Lounge. You know what I'm saying? Facebook at 808 Lounge. YouTube at 808 Dash Lounge. Yes, get in with me. Holla at y'all, man. Yes, sir. We out 808 Lounge.
So I wanted him to call in, and this is him calling in during the interview. Go ahead, Cuff, man. You can introduce yourself and take the flow.
Blue, what's up, man?
Yes, sir.
Hey, you know, a lot of people, man, is thinking that this thing is made up or this thing is fake or that I have an axe to grind. You feel me?
Right.
But I'm in here with a 27-year sentence based on Demetrius Flannery, as you all know as Big Meech, and Tammy Cowens, known in the paperwork as CS1.
Right.
Confidential Source 1. So what Big Meech did was call a third-party cooperation. So Tammy Cowens signed up to be a DEA informant to give Demetrius Flannery a time cut, plain and simple.
Right. So
okay, so can you break down the story? Like, how do you know this? And how'd you come upon this information?
We were rewarded what's called a Franks hearing. It's based on a case called U.S. versus Frank. So I would implore your listeners to look the case up. And what a Franks hearing entails is that you're able to cross-examine your accusers, meaning government agents, meaning informants, and so on and so forth, just like a regular trial. So this was testified in court.
Period. Point blank.
This was testified in court that I became a government informant to give Demetrius Flannery a time cut.
That's what was said on the stand, bro. The lady became a government informant to give Demetrius Flannery a time cut. But I think people would ask a question of this, though. This is what I got hit with a lot is, all right, then if he did it to get a time cut, then how come he still did all that time in jail?
Well, what they don't understand is that he never received the time cut because what came out was that she had an illicit sexual relationship with Special Agent Keith Cromer.
Special Agent Keith Cromer.
Handler. But her first DA handler was the guy, as you should know, Blue, who wrote the BMF indictment, Special Agent Jack Harvey.
Special Agent Jack Harvey is the person that locked us all up, who's also the person that locked up Terry White, which was her first case as a DEA agent. And then he retired. He retired after he got them 60 years.
Yeah, he retired, and then her handler became a brother by the name of Keith Cromer, Special Agent Keith Cromer, who was also fired behind this particular case. So Meech never received the time cut because, unbeknownst to a lot of people, it's against the law to have a sexual relationship or any personal relationship with a government informant.
This how it happened. Somehow, some way, because I don't know how, she met Special Agent Jack Harvey. You could leave that up to question. How did Big Meech's personal assistant / the person that handles all this business / the person that owns BMF Entertainment to this day since 2008?
Special Agent Jack Harvey. She put her with Harvey.
So now she meets Special Agent Jack Harvey, and then she starts working for Special Agent Jack Harvey, but not for the Meech case. It was for a whole nother case first. It was for Terry White. But once that case went well, okay, and once that went past and Terry White got his 30 years, Special Agent Jack Harvey retired. But now she was ready to go do the case for Meech and help get Meech his time cut. So now when Meech came up, it was a new person that came on, and his name was what's his name again, big homie?
Special Agent Keith Cromer.
Special Agent Keith Cromer is the new special agent after Jack Harvey retired. Now he's her handler, and they engulfed in a personal relationship, sexual, however they called it in the court. And through that relationship, it tainted the case, and it was dishonorable at that point. They had to throw that out. That's why Meech didn't get out.